The other meeting just ended, so hopefully everyone will be joining shortly.
Hi, guys.
Is Artie in here yet?
I don't see him yet.
I want to ask him about his backdrop.
I think you absolutely have to.
I do.
All right, I'm going to quickly share my screen here so we get this captured for the video. I'm going to try to get this information emailed out to you guys as well, or if you want to quick grab a screen capture of this. I'm not going to go through this word for word. These are notes on match temperature and how to recognize changes in match temperature and how to respond to it from the development tier of pros camp back in 2017. This presentation was done by Alan Black, who's one of the kind of lead people in pro in terms of referee evaluation at the development level. I think that's still his role, but that's for sure what he was doing back in 2017 when he gave this presentation. For a second. All right, looks like most people have trickled in. So what we're covering today is Bryce's NPSL game. Can you guys go on mute if you got background noise? So Bryce's NPSL semifinal this last season from 2021. This is, for context, this is the most challenging NPSL game I have witnessed. There were a lot of game critical decisions. That being a regional semifinal, there was a lot on the line for both of these teams. Paula, go on mute. All right, never mind, I muted her. Okay, so we have that context of this being a very high level game. Bryce, I don't know if this is the best game you've done or highest level game you've done, but I'm sure it's in the top 5 if it's not the biggest game that you've done. I saw you jump off mute, so if you want to answer that, go ahead.
Yeah, it is. In terms of the quality job I did, definitely not top 5, but in terms of importance, definitely top 5.
Sure. So a lot of you are used to this type of format, but for those that are new to this group or new to this type of in-depth clip review, this does happen when you move through the professional ranks, where your game, your decision gets scrutinized amongst all of your peers. It's very important that these spaces where this is done, that criticism or those areas where you can improve are being voiced from a place of, we'll call it love, a place of love and helping that referee develop, not just that individual, but that us as a group can learn from what that referee did well, what that referee could have improved on. So as a group, we all collectively get better. This is something that if you haven't been exposed to this before, and you are continuing to wish to do games at the semi-pro level, especially MPSL, USL, and the Aurora, all of those games end up on YouTube. So the scrutiny is going to be coming. If it's not from outside this bubble, you're going to be if it comes from outside that bubble, you're just going to get that straight criticism, versus in here, we're doing it with that intent of growing, getting better, and recognizing the struggles that comes with this. Anything to add to that, Troy?
Yeah, a couple things. So you need to know that Bryce knew we were doing this tonight. We're not ever just going to throw this at you, catch you off guard. So I applaud his courage to be able to stand in the fire. I was the match assessor on this game, and without a doubt, this was the most difficult match I've seen or assessed in the NPSL since the league's inception. And while we're talking about a lot of things tonight, I think Danny will mention this, there were some things that Bryce did in this game, even amongst all the pressure of the match, that was incredibly strong because he was making improvements on things that we'd been working on over the last year. So, tonight we'll be looking at the things that will fall under scrutiny, but you need to know that he was on top of his game as well. And there was a lot going on. So I think it's kudos to him for sure. And I think this will be good for everybody tonight.
And what you're going to miss from these clips are the moments where Bryce performed well. Frankly, we don't have time to pat Bryce on the back tonight. We have enough clips that show areas for improvement and things that we can do differently. That's where our focus is tonight. So that is not to say that Bryce didn't have moments that shined outside of these, but we're highlighting the ones that had the biggest impact on his control of the match. So as we move into these clips, if you guys have done these clip review sessions with me before, we've tended to focus a lot more on using the considerations to think through the thought process and get to the correct decision. In tonight's session, we're more or less going to spoon feed you with the correct decisions. The context that we are now looking at is how those decisions and how the body language of the referee and the decisions by the referee crew increase match temperature, and how that leads to additional incidents that occur throughout the match and additional challenges that the referee team is posed with because of decisions that were made early in the match. So with that, Doug, do you want to clip these one by one, or do you just want to throw the whole playlist? I think you're on mute.
Sorry, I always forget I put myself on mute. You want me to share my screen or?
Well, usually this works better if we have everyone load their own link just from a bandwidth standpoint. Yeah, so
sure. So I'll just put the links in the chat.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Hang on a minute. First one. Oops, I could actually. Okay. So, back into Zoom. I'll be ready the next time we get ready for the next.
No worries. I sprung this on you last minute. So
all right, chat. Here we go. All right, to everyone, the link for the first one is in the chat. So
we're just going to let everyone play it through on your own computer. Watch it through at least one time, and then we'll come back. All right, as you guys are wrapping that up, in discussing this clip, for me, it becomes a little difficult because the point and mode of contact are blocked in the view that we have from the video, but what I appear to see is either the studs or the foot making contact with the opponent's hamstring. The speed is low, force is relatively low, so we are not looking at a send-off, but for me, this is for sure a caution. And then I'm going to throw it to Troy to kind of add some context about what he saw from this challenge and how the response of the referee plays in, or how the response of the referee contributes to the overall match temperature and the trust in the referee.
Yeah. So, and Bryce can kind of verify this in the assessment report. From where I was on the far side of the stands, and watching this play happen, I wrote, not a caution for me really this early in the match. I'd like to see you manage this game and this player and this situation better. The struggle for me was after going back to look at the video and then seeing some of the things Danny was seeing, especially with mode and point of contact, was I thought it could have been a yellow, but when I watched Bryce react, and if you watch Bryce's body language, posture, and decision making in terms of his speed of decision making, nothing here indicates anything cautionable to me as a viewer of the match. It looks like just a run-of-the-mill clumsy challenge if I'm using Bryce's language to interpret what Bryce sees. This is Bryce can kind of talk about this. We've been working on this for a year or two as well, but definitely looking at that body language, I think we just got a kind of a simple foul here coming together, and so the caution didn't appear necessary after watching the video. Yeah, but then my next criticism falls to Bryce when we start to deal with match control, temperature of the game, and how can he exude some of that presence.
So kind of bringing it to the group now, having heard what I said about the challenge itself, having heard from Troy, Bryce's response, let's start with just kind of a general question to everyone. Do you think that the caution warrants the tackle warrants a caution? Are we all in agreement that this is a caution? Give me let's see, what can we do in chat? Or let's give a thumbs up reaction if you believe this is a caution. Okay, we got lots of thumbs coming up. If Bryce didn't show the yellow card, would you know that this was a caution? Someone jump off mute and let's talk about
let's talk, guys. We got to hear from you.
Danny, I guess if I could chime in.
Yeah.
The only thing I mentioned is, other than a hard whistle, I think no, right? There, it doesn't. It seems a little bit more lax. We're 9 minutes in, but it doesn't tell me that there's more here.
Excellent. Someone else, what message do you want delivered by giving a caution for a foul of this nature? What message are you trying to have the players receive from giving a caution in this situation? Someone other than David.
And when you answer that question from Danny, can you also maybe reference the bench this foul is in front of?
I would say you want everyone to know that this kind of a challenge is not acceptable, and that you're willing to deal with it in a urgent and clear manner.
Good. Did you feel that was the message, not the caution was giving? And I'm going to call on someone else now. Thanks for the input, Brian. We see that with the caution. Do we see or feel that with Bryce's body language?
Well, Danny, I was gonna say I don't think that he really shows it with his body language. All he kind of comes in and just slowly gives that caution. If you're gonna make that message, I guess I would say just get in there, like make it known with your body language, give a signal with your arms, or make yourself bigger and get there quicker, to kind of show that, hey, we're not doing this today.
Perfect. What impression do you think the players have about the referee at this point?
I can chime in. I would say that they don't have a positive impression or have the understanding that they're going to be protected from a challenge like this. I think we can see, I forget which number it is, The player standing probably, I think, on the 45 or the 35 here, is like, motioning with like a studs up motion, like, what are you doing, protect my player, that type of thing. So I don't think they're really getting that impression from the body language.
Excellent. So I'm glad to see that you guys are picking up on all of this. This is something really simple. And for Bryce, this is what, 5 seconds of game time. And all of this nonverbal communication has happened. Bryce has correctly identified the severity of the foul. He has correctly punished the foul. And he was in the right position to see the foul. But we have this negative impact to the confidence in the referee crew and a potential impact to the game temperature just from that body language. So it's at this level, as you guys are working semi-pro games where you have an eye towards becoming professional, you need that full package. Just getting the decision, being in the right position, getting the decision correct is just part of that overall equation. We need that sort of orchestrator type effect as a referee where everyone is aware of what you're doing and why, and they're feeding off of your energy. So we're taking a little, go ahead.
Real quick here. And Barrett, you were talking about body language, and to be certain, I think it was Barrett, and certainly correct, but I would also put at you here that if Bryce would have just taken care of the speed to get there and then used even facial expression and the stare, something you all have to master is the stare, like the FU stare. I think even that with just simple straight posture would have been more than enough here, right? Especially early on the match, he's on top of it, he's got it. So just something to think about.
So can I jump in here for a second and just say
Yep.
kind of what looking back and knowing the way I referee, to me, I use the considerations of point of contact, mode of contact, speed of the challenge, where the ball was, all that. And to me, this was like textbook caution. But to Troy's point, had I acted like it was a caution and shown concern for the type of challenge that it was, my body language would have sent a much bigger message than the card did, and maybe in combination would have sent an even better message. But the route I chose was, looking back, the weakest one I could have, with the poor body language and the caution.
This is all really good stuff. I'm actually pleasantly impressed with all of the comments that we've received on this one. This one we did go a little slower on because I wanted to kind of show you guys what this process looks like, how we evaluate the impact to match control. We're going to start rifling through these other ones a little faster so we can get through all of the clips, and we will stop for ones that have a little more meat to them to talk about kind of the bigger impacts. So let's move on to the next clip.
Oh, sorry. Clip 2 is now in the chat. So.
All right, so like I said, we're going to start rifling through some of these a little more. Note the time of the game here. We're 20 minutes past that first challenge. We now have another tackle that is worthy of misconduct. Whether or not it is given, I think there's some potential ability to manage this if you want to. But for me, this is a caution. In the assessment, Troy had this as a caution. Again, we have a body language that does not match what contact actually occurred. And again, we have that with the blue team committing the foul against the orange team. And if you watch the clip back, again, if you play a little bit forward, Doug, there's a moment where you actually have both. I think Doug left his seat. But if you guys play it through, there's a moment where both players are expecting a different response from Bryce. Because that strong body language isn't there, both teams are questioning the authority of the referee through nonverbal signals. So here's the contact, there's a slight whistle right there. So you've got both players with the orange player's got he's on the ground, he's got his arms up, and blue's got his arm up too. Neither player here is trusting the authority of the referee to manage the game, manage the players, make sure that challenges are going to be fair. Neither player is happy here. The blue player thinks he got away with a clean tackle. Obviously he didn't. And the orange player wants a stronger response because he just got his knee clattered into. So again, here the soft whistle. Bryce does a nice job of moving to the spot of the foul, but the body language doesn't represent the severity of the foul that occurred there. We can go on to the next clip.
So I think on this, I think on this next one, guys, we want you to watch it when Doug puts it up, and then I think Danny and I are gonna pull back for about 2 minutes and let you chime in and put some of the elements together for us this time. Okay.
Okay, clip 3 is in the chat.
And as you guys are getting to the slow motions part, I don't want us to get bogged down on what the correct decision is here. So we'll give you the cheat code and let you know that there's a clean tackle. The player steps over the defender and then takes a dive. So that is the context of what we're working off of here. And I think this is the one where I actually have the longer clip too.
I'll unshare so you can share on yours.
Yeah, if I can grab it. I don't know if I have it up. Or Bryce, actually, I don't think we need the video because I don't think the video captures all of it. Bryce, do you want to talk us through what happened after this decision was made?
You're muted.
Thank you. Yeah, so after this decision was made, there was about 3 minutes of dead ball time. And in that dead ball time, I went over to talk to AR2, who was Victor, and ask him what he saw and see if it was the same thing that I saw. I went over to Victor, and the information he had for me was that the outside left back had a chance at the ball. And then after that, fourth official and AR1 called me over. And part of my pregame was, if there's something game critical, do not let me restart. So I was okay with that. I understand it looks sloppy, but I was okay with that. And they told me that they had red. And I told them that Victor had defender. That was the furthest player from them. And so I stuck with the original decision. And it all took about 3 minutes.
Yep. So I'm going to do a quick recap so we're all on the same page. Again, as I'm talking through this, think about the impact that we have on match temperature here. So we have our match control as well. So we have a extremely difficult decision. There are many things that factor here. We have to determine, is there a foul? Does the foul occur inside or outside of the penalty area? Is this dog so? So we have misconduct decisions, we have penalty, no penalty decisions, and then we have to know, is there actually a foul or is this a dive? So there's a lot of very difficult things for the referee crew to manage here. Thinking of it from the perspective of match control, what are the two, and I'm going to give you guys some kind of open-ended prompts, and then I want you guys to run with this. what are the two teams thinking when this decision is made? How are the two teams responding when Bryce first goes over to the near side AR? And then what do you think is happening to the teams, players, their view of the referee crew, their impression of the referee's credibility as he goes back over to the fourth official and AR1, and then comes back and ultimately restarts with the original decision. So I'm going to leave that to you guys. There's a lot of things that you can jump onto there, but take it away.
Danny, I can say a few things. I think I was at this game. Actually, a tough one, Bryce. So red wants the penalty here. Blue has a dive. And Bryce makes the call for free kick. There must be some descent. And then I think what happens after that is you have conversations with AR2 and your fourth, right? So I think what happens is, right, the confidence in the call gets eroded because there's a bunch of post-decision discussion that isn't helping the players feel really confident about the call that was made in the first place. So maybe, handling it differently would have been, you made the call, you stand by the call, and you restart. But I get what your pregame instruction was, Bryce, so you were okay with the conversation.
Yeah, and comms would be so helpful in this situation. So it's really difficult to have confidence that you're not putting like a match critical decision down to your like one person view of it. So I understand why you would consult.
The whole crew had
So
comms.
wait. Yeah, I want to stop with that too. Even if regardless of if there were comms or not, the problem is not the speed at which the communication is happening. It's the input that is being sought out and why and what impact that is having. So for Bryce, what I'm going to throw this back to you. What information were you seeking or that you needed when you were talking to your other officials? What pieces were you missing from the puzzle that you felt you didn't have that you needed to get from the rest of your crew?
That's a good question. I wasn't sure. So my initial thought was distance to ball. I thought it was a long played ball. The information that I got from Victor was defender, the right back or the left back here. And then the information that I got from fourth official and AR1 was that they had all 4 Ds.
Okay. So what piece were you missing? So you were missing the defender and you went to Victor to get that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So coming back to the group, what information does the fourth official or AR1 have that Bryce does not already have from his view of the play, or that he could have gotten from the lead AR?
I would say
Right.
nothing. I don't think there's anything to contribute from that distance.
Agreed. Yeah.
Optics, right? This is a classic case. It's between the referee and the lead AR, who is Victor in this case. So going back to the fourth official and the other AR kind of erodes credibility, because the referee is very close, much closer, in fact, and should have all the information that the fourth and AR1 are going to give.
Yep. So the major issue with this is we have almost nothing to gain from talking to the fourth official in AR1. Like Bryce said, he has all of the information he needs to make a decision. Again, whether that decision is correct or not is less important in this scenario, just because of the difficulty of this decision. But I want to talk about the communication that's happening here, and that what that does to the credibility of the referee crew here.
Can I jump in and help, Danny?
Yes.
Yeah, so first off, I'm going to pull back to the, I got to get my, quit playing with the drawings here. Close this. Okay, so first off, at the point of the foul, Bryce, what do you know or not know?
When or what?
But what do you, when you call this foul, okay,
Yep.
what do you know or not know?
I know it's outside the penalty
You
area.
know it's outside the penalty area. So is there,
100%.
but are you aware that anybody can help you with that decision?
Yeah, of course. Victor's right there.
Right. So if you look at Victor, forget the comms, everybody. If you look at Victor, can Victor quickly give you a visual signal to tell you if he thinks it's inside or outside?
Yeah.
Okay. So conversation doesn't have to happen, right? Everyone? It's just a look. Is it in or out? Okay. Next question that you were curious about, right? Go ahead, Bryce. What's the next thing that Victor can help you with?
A couple of the D's.
Right. So dog so is this, if it's regardless if it's inside, is this a legitimate play on the ball? Do you think the tackle is a legitimate play on the ball? Yes. Okay. So if it's inside,
I don't know if you're asking me.
right. Yeah, that's my point. So if it's inside, it's yellow, but you've decided to make it outside where it no longer matters, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we need to know, are the 4Ds present? Is there a visual signal Victor can give you quickly to tell you if you can look at Victor and mouth the word dog so Victor, man, somebody's upset. Can your AR give you a visual signal to quickly tell you, yes, dog so red, no, not dog so red?
Of course.
Right. So
I have to be looking for that. So that this part is not on Victor. I have to be looking for that.
yeah, you're right. You're right. I remember talking to you about this after the game at some point. I don't remember when, but so my question is, can you get the information you need for those two decisions from Victor without having to go over to him?
Yes, I just need to zoom out of the tunnel vision that I'm in on this decision.
Exactly. Right. Okay. I'll back out now.
No, that was excellent, Doug. Thank you. that definitely got us on the streamlined version of the railroad tracks for this. So what
I want to jump in here actually real quick.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I talked to you, Danny, about was, so Bryce gave the yellow card. And in my opinion, there was that defender. Maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong, but ultimately he gave the yellow card. And that's the same decision that I would have come to. So what can I as an AR do to prevent Bryce from coming over? Because we don't, ultimately the same decision was going to be made. How we justify it after the fact, that's fine. But, I agreed with Bryce. So what can I do as an AR to be like, hey, Bryce, you got this. Don't come. We don't need to talk. You got this. How can I say that?
Yeah, I'm going to cut you off because we're short on time, but yes, do absolutely that. Not to tell war stories, but I had a situation where a referee thought there was a potential handling in the penalty area, and she starts walking towards me like we need to have a conversation because she's taking a lot of heat from players, and I just hold up my hand as a stop, and I'm like, no, like, why are you coming to me? Like, you've got the decision correct. It's like, let's go. It's a corner kick. Like, why are you coming over to talk to me? Like, we don't have anything here. So if that's what's happening in your brain, Victor, of like, I don't need to talk to Bryce, I agree with them, why is he coming over here? Tell that to him. You can do that verbally, you can do that with your body language, you can just go like, no, Bryce, you're right, I agree with you, go. And then you can catch that, but while he's halfway towards you, if he's still walking. And then what is Bryce going to do at that point? He's not just going to keep plowing forward if you're telling him, I agree with you, you're correct, you've got the right restart. We're moving on at that point.
And Danny, right? This is absolutely, we're dealing with how this eroded the control of the match and the game temperature. So this is one of those moments, you all, where a pregame has to happen and these are the things you have to have in that pregame, right? To facilitate smooth, quick conversation, comms or no comms. And we could have solved a lot here, I think, right?
And I want to add too, I think a lot of times people think that having this open conversation somehow adds confidence in the referee's decisions. And this is a great example where that open conversation actually eroded it.
So in the being mindful of time, we now know what the outcome of this is, how that's impacted the referee's control of the game, the perception of the two teams and their confidence of the referee. Let's just play the next clip so you can see the outcome of this. I think the outcome of this next clip has absolutely nothing to do with whether Bryce's decision was correct or incorrect. I think it has entirely to do with that match control and the ability of the teams, coaches, fans, etc., to trust the referee crew.
All right, the next clip, the link is in the chat.
And this is more for audio than visual. It's mostly off camera, so make sure your audio is on for this.
Ricey, what's the score line at that point? Do you remember?
You're on mute, Bryce.
Bryce?
Yeah, it's 1-0.
Okay.
And which team's coach was just removed?
Cleveland.
Okay, we'll go on to the next clip.
Is Cleveland orange or blue?
Cleveland is orange.
Thank you.
And okay, clip 5 is in the chat right now.
Biltong and order some. It's fantastic. Amazing. It's Z-A-M-B-E-Z-I-E and a biltong is B-I-L. Beck's in. Tong. Here comes Beck. Wow. And we have a penalty. That looks absolutely. Beck got the.
All right, as we bring everybody back again tonight, the cheat codes are on, so we don't need to dive into whether or not this is a penalty. We all have this as a penalty. The contact is enough to, it's on the scale of penalties, this is a softer penalty, but it is also one that absolutely should be called in this game. Okay, so what does this do to the temperature of the match?
I mean, you mentioned it was soft, so the team that committed the foul is definitely going to be frustrated with the call being made, especially seeing that they're currently in the lead.
Excellent.
Increases match temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. From someone I haven't heard yet, pick one of the two teams and what they're feeling from an emotional level after a call like this.
I can go. I'll take the blue team. I would, at this point, based on the clips that I've seen, I would assume that the momentum is on their side. Orange coach has been sent off. They're up 1-0. Very high stakes game, and all of a sudden they've just given away a golden scoring opportunity on something that they potentially didn't even think was a foul.
Perfect. Someone else who I haven't heard from yet. What is the orange team feeling?
I'll take it. Potentially a star striker just got hacked down right as they're about to have a shot on goal, but they're appreciative of the penalty. I believe is orange team down right now 1-0?
Orange team is down 1-0.
Okay, so it's the potential to level the game at 1-1 and rally going into the later part of the second half.
Perfect. So we have drastic shifts in emotions for the two teams, and this is for sure going to cause a change in your game temperature. This is something we've shown a lot of clips where Bryce could have done things differently to help keep the game calm or keep the game control or the game temperature low. This is something that's out of your control. Bryce for sure made the correct decision on this, and the circumstances of the game are now going to become more difficult because of what happens with the scoreline. This could have been just a regular goal and you would see the temperature go up. The fact that it's a penalty and it's a softer penalty is going to raise that temperature even further, because you now have referee involvement in causing some of those emotions from the two teams.
Danny?
Yes.
Okay, all of you, I'm going to pose a question and I don't want an answer yet. I just want you to think, and I want you to think on it for the rest of the presentation. Let's assume that Bryce has recognized that this is going to raise match temperature. Let's assume the ARs have realized this is going to raise match temperature more than it already was. In the next 10 minutes, what does Bryce need to do, and what do the ARs need to do to regain, or not, I want to say regain control, to react to the match temperature increase? I don't want an answer right now, but I want you to think. We'll come back to it near the end.
Troy, Doug, anything else from this clip, or are we good for the next one?
No, I think we're good for the next
I think
one.
we're good.
All right. Stop share. All right. The link for number 6 is now in the chat.
All right, I think everyone's had a chance to go through this clip. Again, I want to throw this one to everybody. What are you seeing that the referee is doing in response to what is a clear second caution that will lead to a send-off? And what is this going to do to the match temperature and the emotions of both teams? Pick one question and then we'll hear from multiple people.
Well, shortly before this, the game was tied, and now the team that conceded the tying goal has just lost a player. So it puts them at a severe disadvantage momentum wise.
Okay, so you're taking it from the team that was up 1-0,
Mhm.
had a penalty scored,
Things
are
are just
now
going
down.
wrong in pretty rapid succession.
So where do you think they're at from an emotional standpoint?
They're probably frustrated. I think emotionally there's probably a lot of frustration with Bryce, just because it was their fault obviously, but Bryce has made the correct decisions that have costed them a lot of momentum.
I'm gonna help here a little bit too. You have the correct emotions. Not all of this is going to be directed at Bryce. When you have a 1-0 lead in a semifinal match and you lose that lead to a penalty, and now you're tied, and now you've lost a player, you've gone from thinking that you can hold a clean sheet and advance to the finals to, oh shit, we've got to shell up and we have to hope for kicks from the mark, or we have to get a fluke goal. And Bryce doesn't need to say this, but like I'm sure he picked up on how drastically the tactics changed after this. Milwaukee went into pretty much a defensive shell and tried to hold on as long as they could. So you have a major tactical change. You have a major emotional change from the Milwaukee side. So you picked up part of what's happening there, Sam, where there are you've definitely picked up on that momentum shift and Bryce's involvement, whether again it's his fault or not, but the context of the game as well and how the tactics are going to shift is something that you need to be aware of as you're reffing, because it's going to change your positioning. It's going to change where you move on the field, what to expect. You now have to be aware of Milwaukee playing much more of a long ball or counterattack type game. So those are some things that you need to think about from Milwaukee's standpoint. I'm going to throw it back to the group.
Yep.
We've got I'll go to Bryce first.
Can I actually jump in
and
answer the Oranges side of this? So the guy who gets sent off here, center back, captain, I think they were just hiding their nastiest player as their captain. That's my opinion. And Orange in this situation is thinking, finally this guy gets sent off, because he didn't at the top of the penalty area.
And we're losing Bryce a little bit, but
few minutes in the making. Sorry,
Hey, Bryce.
is it my connection or
connection's
is it
cutting in
Bryce?
and out.
It's
I'm not
Bryce.
sure if
Okay.
anyone.
No, it's for all of us, I think. Bryce, maybe go off video because you
I
come
think
in and
it's
out
mine.
quite a bit.
So as we'll come back to Bryce, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
here. I don't know if
Yeah,
you guys
so-
caught everything that I tried
No,
to say.
so we had the orange team feeling like finally the nasty center back is sent off. How are they feeling about their chances or opportunities to advance, and contrast to that to where they were at maybe 35 minutes into the game?
This door was just blown wide open.
So what are you expecting the players to do in response?
Attack. They're
All right, we're losing Bryce, but yeah,
they're gonna push guys forward.
All right, I'm going to mute him in case he can't hear me. But yes, Bryce is absolutely right with this. You're going to see that tactical shift from Orange as well. Their intensity is going to go up. They're pushing, or their willingness to send guys forward to try to get that winning goal is going to go up, because now they don't want to go to kicks from the mark. They do not want to squander this man advantage and leave it to chance. They want to score right away. The last thing that we didn't touch on yet is how Bryce's body language, his approach to this decision. What impact did that have on your confidence in the referee crew and the impact to the match control?
I think this is a great chance to pat him on the back, honestly. Like the urgency, the body language, his hand gestures are really on point here. And I honestly don't see much room for improvement.
Excellent. Yep, that's what we were looking for. So Bryce does an excellent job of blowing a hard whistle, getting to the spot. If you see his body language, his shoulders are up. He's getting confronted by multiple players. You can tell that he is extremely confident in this decision and is not going to be swayed by whatever bullshit arguments the blue team is going to give him here. This is a huge difference from the Bryce we saw in the first half. And if I remember correctly, Troy, you specifically noted that in the assessment that this is the type of strong performance that you were hoping for the entire game.
Yep, absolutely.
Perfect. I think we're good for the next clip.
All right, hang on a moment here. All right, clip 7 is in the chat.
All right. There is a lot in this one. So Troy, Doug, please help me if I'm missing anything key that you're seeing here. Again, kind of spoon feeding the decision. We have a pretty simple foul. The body language from Bryce indicates a simple foul. Then we have Milwaukee kind of protesting the decision. This is, I would say this is due to a lot of the preceding events that have caused the temperature to raise, have caused some of the lack of confidence in the referee crew. We have a response from Bryce to that, not that it's not dissent, but that kind of questioning of the referee's authority, followed by a quick restart, and then the ball kind of caroming off of the Milwaukee player's head and going out for a throw. So I'm gonna be even more open with this question, and I'm looking for some help from Doug, Troy, Krill, whoever else is on, to help guide the conversation as well. But what do we like from what Bryce is doing in terms of managing the game and increasing his control of the match, and what don't we like and why?
Let's start with what we don't like.
I think you can show more urgency to get to the spot of the fall on this, given the temperature and the reaction from the players.
So there's an opportunity for urgency, but let's talk about what we were saying earlier with having our body language and our response match the severity of the foul. If we go back to looking at the foul itself, what type of response does it warrant? I'm sticking on you for this one, Brian.
Oh, I think that in a normal, like, low to mid temperature match, like, his reaction is probably fine, but the temperature is so high right now that it needs to be elevated, his response, in my opinion. Does that make sense? Or no?
I'll give my take, and then I want to hear.
Because to me, it looks when the players get up like they're almost ready to go at each other.
So at this point, we have a simple foul. I'm okay with the body language of Bryce showing that this is a simple foul. You still want to show that. At this point now we have something different. So the foul itself does not warrant the urgency to the spot. It does not warrant strong body language because you want your actions to reflect what's happening. So even if the game is at a high temperature, you can actually pour gasoline onto that by overreacting to every simple foul. Your goal is to get the temperature down where simple fouls are simple fouls again. So your hope here is that you can call a simple foul, but your awareness is high, where I go, I know the game temperature is high. I'm hoping this is a simple foul that I can manage like a simple foul, but if I can't, I'm ready. So at this point now, where we have Cleveland, who we know is pushing, trying to score, we have Milwaukee, who's trying to stall. We have two players standing over the ball that are going to prevent Cleveland from playing quickly. At this point, now that urgency is warranted. Troy, anything to add, or do you disagree with anything there?
No, I absolutely agree. The urgency that Danny's talking about could even be his voice, right? Like from he's 10 yards away trying to manage a simple foul. He has to get there first. He gets there quickest with his voice. And by getting there with your voice, that should bring your shoulders up. That should bring your movement more quickly to the ball as well. But at this point, Blue is in total control. And that's not what we want anymore. And if I'm Orange, now I feel like you don't have this game, referee.
So now let's play this through a couple seconds and let's see if we like what Bryce does here or if we don't like it. All right, stop.
I'll step in here. This is Connor. I would say when Bryce is chastising the guy in blue that gave him the ball, there isn't really a message that gets across to say, you can't do this again. He gets a point to his face, but it's like, man. Whereas if he's grabbing the ball and handing it to Bryce, it should be a point where if you touch this ball and give it to me again, we're gonna have some serious issues, and it might take a stop for a little bit more time in this one restart to then save you for the rest of the game in terms of having the situation happen again.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
From my point of view, this is my favorite moment I've ever seen from Bryce. Like that level of authority, recognizing what that player is doing as an act of disrespect. And he takes that, like he goes, the player hands the ball to Bryce, is going like, oh, here, ref, I was going to give you the ball the whole time, and kind of trying to play it off like it's no big deal. Bryce discards the ball and goes right to the player and goes like, no, I don't know what you said to him, Bryce, but that I don't need to hear the words, because that body language and that message is clear that you're not tolerating that, and two, you're not being fooled by the facade he's putting on by like nicely handing you the ball.
And folks, this is visible from the camera, which is 40 yards away and up. That means the whole stadium sees this. It is perfect.
Do you guys think that because of how Bryce is handling this particular situation, that's why when blue player gets kicked in the back of the head in a few seconds from now, that response ends up being pretty muted rather than him going through the roof?
I think probably. I was surprised there wasn't a reaction from that. I would have reacted pretty badly if that happened to me.
I didn't think of that. I like that point.
I got one
100% agree
word.
with that.
Karma. This is karma.
And he was going through his head once he got hit. That was exactly what he was thinking.
So I don't want to spend too much more time on this clip because the last one is probably the most entertaining clip I've ever seen. So I want to wrap this up by saying I think we all disagree or don't like the fact that Bryce chastised a player and then we are now allowing a quick restart. Obviously, this needs to be if you are verbally admonishing a player, you need to give them that time to get back into position before you blow the whistle. I assume in this moment, and Bryce, you might actually be too far away from this to remember where you're at emotionally. But my thought is Bryce just had a huge moment, a big emotional dump where he is managing this. And then you have a tendency to go like, okay, I'm done. I can now relax and we can get back to refereeing and take that quick mental break. And in that mental break is when that quick restart happens and Bryce doesn't manage it appropriately. So you have to stay on your game at all times, especially when the temperature is high, so that you can correctly deal with those situations.
Danny, real quick for me, I preach this constantly. I used to preach it as a coach. Physical fatigue equals mental fatigue, and this was a hell of a game. The fatigue here is going to start to play a factor. I think part of that is happening here. So we've got, that's why fitness is such a big deal for all of us.
All right, let's play the last clip.
Dan, can I say something real quick about that?
Yeah, we'll do it while people are watching because this is a long, quick clip and it's very entertaining. So just go on mute and listen to John as you watch the clip.
The last clip is on the chat.
Go ahead, John.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, when that player grabbed the ball and Bryce rightfully gets over and addresses that, what was it Connor done? I'm sorry. Was
Yes.
Connor talking earlier?
Yes.
Okay. I think he's spot on that those are the moments with the temperature that high that you need, if you take 10 or 15 extra seconds, even though it penalizes Cleveland in a sense, it can save you for the next, potentially can save you for the next 20, 25, the rest of the game, where you set it up. I wouldn't mind at all if he pulled a yellow card and cautioned that player for delaying the restart. And the only other thing I would say is, and Bryce can say whatever he wants, but I feel like he got extremely lucky that a mass confrontation did not happen right here when the guy got hit in the back of the head. Because as someone, I'm sorry, I don't know what the name was, but as someone said, if that happens to me as a player, I'm losing my collective, you know what, like with we just gave up the goal, we just lost the player. I'm gonna lose my mind. So I don't know how they didn't lose their mind, and I don't know if Bryce wants to actually say I got extremely lucky here that this didn't blow up into something bigger. But for me, I feel like a caution. I have no problem with that when he grabs the ball, and I have no problem making this ceremonial and making it crystal clear that that's not going to happen and it's not going to be okay, and thus giving Cleveland an opportunity for the next, I don't know, 10, 15, however long it is, to have more uninterrupted restarts potentially. So that's just my 2 cents.
So I will say, yes, I did get very lucky. And if I remember correctly, this player looked at me like, are you going to do anything about that? And I looked at him like, after what you just did, no. and yes, the luck was on my side for that play right there. So we can move on to the last one.
Yeah, you're probably lucky you already sent off the hothead that was off the.
So real quick, everybody, we have 3 minutes left in the meeting. I want to throw this to you guys. I'd like to have this be more interactive. So give me a green yes if you are okay to push this longer, where we can involve you guys in some of the decisions, or a red X if you just want the answer for this last one.
It's in your reactions, guys.
We have all greens. I don't see any reds.
Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna take our time with this one, and we'll involve everybody in the process here. All right, so let's break down this first part here. This is similar to the clip analysis we did in the summer. This is one of those decisions that can fall into the gray area of refereeing, where we have something that can be justified as a foul and a penalty, but this is also something that you can pass on. I'm going to let that sit for a second for everybody. Does anyone have any problems with that concept, or does that concept make you feel uncomfortable, or are you hoping for a black and white answer on foul decisions like this?
I'd love a black and white for this, but it doesn't exist.
Why?
I think there's just a lot of subjectivity, especially in a situation like this. I mean, it'd be a lot easier to call in center field, this sort of call, but for a penalty, there's a lot at stake.
No. You don't get to do that. Why?
What do you mean?
Why? You haven't given me a reason. You said stuff's gray. Why?
Because you could argue that, I mean, intention doesn't matter, but I don't know. I guess I don't know how to back that up now.
I don't think you're wrong, but I want you to be able to back it up.
Someone help them. Why do we have gray areas in football?
So it's a matter of using the considerations, which set of considerations you're looking at. So you could argue this is a tool versus weapon scenario, with the point of contact being the head, mode of contact being the arm. Or you could also argue that the blue player was merely jumping, trying to play the ball, and the orange player who backed into him. And so it was a legal challenge.
Logan, tool versus weapon is a misconduct question. Are we worried about misconduct on this play?
No foul, no foul. Gotcha.
Okay, so don't worry about tool versus weapon.
Someone else help him out.
Yeah, so Troy, maybe I chime in here. Some things are either they happened or they didn't, right? They're compulsory. Did somebody spit or not? Did somebody, XYZ? In this case, it matters how the play happened and how things came together, how the players were playing, where was the ball, where were other players. There are other factors.
Okay.
I'll jump in here. I would say this is the 10 minutes, I think, at the end of this game for regulation. And it's a tie game right now. You've got an orange player that's facing back towards goal. He has no chance of scoring in that position, very easily at least. And then you're going to give him a penalty kick that is 75% chance. Not saying that justifies decisions one way or the other, but it's a consideration you got to think about in this game.
What's this orange player going to do with the ball if he gets it? Right? Connor's onto something here, folks. I need you to jump in.
I'd say he's either passing it backward or dribbling to the goal line.
So are you all comfortable in a 1-1 regional semifinal with a player with his back to the goal, out to the side of the field, with a ball he can do little with, producing a penalty here in a match like this?
I was gonna say, Troy, if he gets that ball in any way, he's good. The best chance he's got for anything is to play it back across the middle, which is gonna lead to another 50-50 ball. So no, I don't really see anything coming out of this.
I'm good, Danny.
I'm hesitant to bring this topic in, because this is taught at the professional level, and it is not always grasped by grassroots or even regional referees. But this falls under something that I would consider this falling under something called football understanding. Before I go into this topic, I'm gonna check with Krill, because he gets this instruction more directly, more frequently. John, do you agree that this type of situation would fall under what you're being taught about the use of football understanding?
Yeah, I think like Connor pointed out, you look at, and Troy was talking about it, you look at the magnitude of the game, you look at everything surrounding it, the time of the play, you look at what the players' options are. You get inside the player's head. You think, what is it? What is it? What is everyone expecting here? Is he actually going up and making a play for this ball? Is he taking a glance over, seeing where the guy's coming, see that he's coming strong, and kind of, you know, backs into him, hoping to get clobbered, you know, force the referee's hand. And so there's a lot of different here of what does the world expect, and what do they as someone that, you know, has played the game and has understands the game. I saw this coming from like seven, you know, seconds away, kind of thing. Like this dude bail out a little bit, and he's gonna force Bryce's hand and see what the guy does. And knowing that Bryce is young, and he's made some other decisions throughout the game that are, you know, so, and we can probably put this over this guy. And so, yeah, there's so much more than just black and white, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah. So
if that helped.
Yes.
Yeah.
The concept of football understanding incorporates like what does football expect from this type of play? You as a fan of either team, are you expecting that this is going to be called? Are you expecting that a game would be decided by a foul like this? Is it fair that a game would be decided by a foul like this? So again, we can use the justifications and the justifications that are provided in the law book, as well as the considerations to stand behind this as a correct foul decision, but it does not align with the football understanding. When we're in Azteca on Thursday against El Tri, and we're going for another dose of zero, or do I have any of my Mexican referees? No, I don't. Okay. I was saving that line for them and they didn't show up. But is that something that you want to see have the United States potentially give up points trying to go to a World Cup? Like that's what we're talking about with football understanding. What do fans expect? What do teams expect? And it's a very difficult concept to wrap your head around, because it does not give you freedom to violate things that are black and white. It does not give you freedom to change decisions that absolutely must be given in a match, but it allows you freedom in these scenarios to make decisions that are in that gray area that align with what is expected through that concept of football understanding.
Danny, we've got a perfect example too, because we all watched a PK from Bryce earlier in this match that we all feel was soft, but none of us using football understanding can do anything but call a penalty kick there. Here, different scenario.
So I think we've had enough practice with feeling the emotions of the two teams that I think you guys can answer that for yourself after this, knowing that Milwaukee has successfully defended for 60 minutes a man down, have now given up a penalty in the 82nd minute. They're expecting that their season's over. They're the number 2 seed, I believe, in the playoffs, and they're playing a team that they were expecting to beat. And then we have this happen. So if you can't see, or you had the audio off because you were listening to John, Bryce has his yellow card out right now. Bryce, I think you have your red card as well, don't you? It's going to take his
he just took
like 5 minutes
right
to catch
now.
up. Okay, so his red card's out right now. There are about.
I just pulled it when you asked that.
Okay. There's what, 2.5, 3 minutes between the time that Bryce has his red card out and the time where the player actually receives the red card. So this one, I'm not going to be as generous with prompts. What are you guys seeing? What are you guys feeling when you watch this clip?
You can start talking now, guys, because it's slow.
I mean, I sort of feel like if this guy misses this penalty kick, like this is like Luis Suarez in the World Cup all over again. Like, oh my God, like we delayed this long enough and we're going to get to 90 minutes. And the guy missed the kick and we might get to overtime and we still have a shot. Obviously he converts, but like that would have been kind of one of those legendary football stories. The guy sits down, delays everything, and we get to overtime, and who knows what happens.
Who else has something?
If I was the orange team, I would be frustrated because they wait for 3 minutes and they are about to take the kick as well, and the guy just sits down blatantly right in front of the spot.
What's the purpose of this guy sitting down? He's already on a caution.
Delaying the restart of play.
To do what?
Delay the restart of play.
To do what?
To get in the head of the kick taker.
Thank you.
Yes.
He's willing to sacrifice. He's hoping, I will bet, and Danny disagrees with me, I can live with that. I will bet he's hoping he can get away with it because of the other things that we've talked about in this match with decision-making intensity from Bryce. He's willing to risk being sent off to ice the kicker because overtime, and who knows what happens in overtime, right? So Logan,
Bryce has given him enough that I will take it a step further. I believe he thinks he's going to get away with this. I don't think he has any thought that a send off is possible here.
Yeah,
I think he feels that he's outsmarted Bryce, and as long as he holds his injury long enough, even though Bryce has the caution out for 3 minutes, Bryce is going to put the caution away and feel sorry for him because he's got an owie cramp.
And he gets orange to push on cramp. Of course he's going to get away with it.
All right, what else are you guys seeing? What else are you picking up?
I had a challenge for everybody. Is there anything Bryce can do at this point to avoid giving him the card?
I mean, you could say, right, you either get up now and go off the field or yellow card and then red. I mean, you can talk him through it. You can give him options here.
I don't think he's in a rational state of mind at this point, the player, to be honest. Like, this is next level gamesmanship. So I mean, you could say that, but I don't think it would have been effective.
I think this goes beyond gamesmanship. I think this is defined as shithousery.
Yeah. That's why I said next level.
All right, guys, what else? How do we like or dislike how Bryce handled this? Does this action change how either of the two teams are feeling?
I mean, I think the blue team is feeling like, wow, we're in, deep crap here, but like, at least we're doing our best to salvage the situation. And like, hey, but they're probably giving hats off to this player for what he did. But the orange team's got to be livid.
Let me see if I can pull out a different opinion. Carson, you played D3, correct?
I did, yes.
Okay, you're already down a man. You have been defending for 20 minutes, and you just give up a penalty kick that you don't think is a penalty. Is losing this play, another player, going to have any impact on how you are feeling about the game and your chances of winning?
No, you're completely lost at this point. I mean, like your rationale is not going to be there. You're probably going to put in dumb tackles. You're probably going to yell at the ref 10 times more. Like, for me, I think this is just going to, kind of compound that mindset.
Yeah. So I agree with Carson. So I think you could have like 3 more blue players thrown out. You could have their coach tossed. You could have all of their substitutes thrown out. Their mindset is not going to change in how they feel about their ability to win the game post the penalty decision. They may become increasingly more pissed at Bryce, but their feeling of, are we in this game? Do we have a chance to advance? That feeling remains unchanged after that penalty is called. Does anyone disagree with that?
No, okay, can I jump in here for a second?
Absolutely.
So, to the point of this player's willing to bet on me not sending him off, his coach said something to him in Portuguese. And I don't know if the coach had forgotten or if that was the coach's tactic to test me to see if I'd send him off. And his willingness, if it was him testing me, his willingness to take a second caution and be sent off was, I think, kind of the emotional need to place this blame all on me for them losing this game. That's kind of my thought process.
I don't have any disagreements there.
Neither do I.
Before we move to closing comments, Doug, Troy, John, anything that you want to add?
I'd like to revisit my question, but I don't know if you want to do that in comments or here.
Repeat your question.
So the moment we realized game temp has spiked, what does the referee need to do? And I think in the interest of time, I want John Krill to answer this one. Oh,
wait, I got a better idea.
Okay.
This is your homework assignment.
Oh yeah.
I want an email response on
better.
this. You don't have to be long with it. Give me 1 or 2 sentences. Troy, can you put your question in chat so that people have the ability to do that?
And then can we have John Krill, will you agree to give us an answer from you at the end when we receive answers from everybody on this question, especially from the AR perspective?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. I type at 24 words a minute, so it's going to be a little bit.
All right. In closing, frankly, I'm very impressed with the level of conversation that we had here, the concepts that you guys were able to link. I'm very proud of the growth that I've seen from a lot of you and your ability to engage with the concepts that we're putting at you. I want to give a big thank you to Bryce for being willing to be up on display here and have himself be scrutinized in front of all of his peers. Because of that, I'm going to give Bryce the last word tonight. If there's anything that he wants to comment on either that game specifically or just the overall experience of kind of going through a session like this where you're being hyper analyzed and hyper focused on.
Sure. So thanks everyone for the feedback and going through this and learning from it. I'm glad that we were all able to take something away in terms of how a game can progress based on early decisions. And in terms of being in a big game like this and having a lot of eyes on you and having your decisions really affect programs that are traveling a long way and doing all that stuff. It's a great opportunity to kind of learn in the heat of the moment and to be under fire. And I appreciate that we can go through this, and it's actually very therapeutic to come back and watch all these moments again and piece those memories back together as another way to reflect. And when Dan and I were going over these clips before the meeting tonight, the one of the simulation at the top of the penalty area, I remember accepting the feedback that was the decision made when Troy and I did the assessment, and I watched that clip 1,000 times then. And in my head at that point, I knew what I had seen on the field, and it didn't match what I thought I saw on the video. And then I watched it again, and we are now 8 months, 9 months away from that. And I looked at the clip 3 times, and I was like, wow, that is definitely simulation, like through and through. So I I really love that aspect of what this exercise has done. And like the further away you are from these moments, and you can kind of separate yourself from thinking about it over and over and over again, you can go back and look at these things very diplomatically, and sometimes a better way to learn.
Bryce, how long did you and I wait to do the debrief?
Let's see, this game was in July. We didn't do the debrief for 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
So that was, so for all of you here in this room, that was on purpose. I checked in with Bryce and we talked a little here and there, but nothing was going to get done. Nothing positive was going to come out of a debrief in 3 days. Out of the most difficult NPSL match he's ever done and I've ever seen, and the things that we had to talk about and work on, right? So there's a lot to say about reflection well after the fact, and I appreciate Bryce bringing that up on his own. Questions are in the chat, Danny. All those misspellings are there because I can't type, so everybody back up. Leave me alone. I'd like you all to respond to John, to put a CC to John, Dan, myself, and Doug on these.
I'll start the email chain in case you guys don't have Krill's email.
It's top secret.
John, are you? Let me stop there. John, are you okay with me sharing your email with this group?
Not a problem.
Okay.
I mean, half the world has already figured it out too, so we're good. I was like the first krill on Gmail, so we're good. I get it, whatever.
All right, good work tonight, everyone. This was, like I said, I'm very impressed with what we got tonight.
Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Good stuff, Brycey. So Doug, you sent me a separate link for this next meeting.
Yes, I am
Does
going to open it up.
Krill have it? Does Krill have it?
I'll send it to Krill here in a second. Okay.
I'll